Welcome to Thunder Nerds. I'm Brian.
And I'm Frederick Philip Von Weiss, and thank you so much for consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology that love what they do.
And do tech
good. Pow! We're doing tech pretty good over here, guys. Hey, thank you so much for consuming the show. And we want to first thank our sponsor. We have a sponsor all year. We have Pantheon.io. Pantheon is a platform for WordPress, Drupal 7, Drupal 8. They provide a really nice system for you to have a test, dev, and live environment. It's really easy to push updates. I don't know if you've ever had to deploy a bunch of updates and you're like, these guys vet them, then they help you push it up. It's really nice, really easy, so you could stick to the important stuff and think about what you need to think about. So thank you so much, Pantheon. Really appreciate it. Brian?
Yeah, and speaking of what to think about, people need to think about and do subscribe to the show on YouTube and on iTunes and on, we're on Spotify now, right?
Yeah, we're on Spotify too.
Spotify. Everywhere. Subscribe, leave a review. We love to read them. So, and on to the show. Frederick, who do we have on the show today?
Oh, Brian, we have some amazing guests. We're so lucky to have these two human beings. Let's go ahead and introduce them. We have Sarrah Vesselov and Taurie Davis. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you. Where are you guys joining us from today?
It's going to be awkward the whole time where we're waiting for each other to say something.
I know, it totally is.
I'll make sure I preface ahead of time. Sarrah, where are you?
I am currently in San Jose, California.
And Taurie?
I'm in Portland, Oregon.
So you guys are close. You're in the same Pacific time zone.
Close. Pretty close.
Yeah. But Taurie, you're actually from that area, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up in San Diego, but I've been in Portland for the last decade or so.
Oh, that's cool. Why the move to Portland from San Diego? A lot of people like the San Diegos.
Yeah, I moved originally for college, and then I just stayed because everyone in Portland's awesome, and it's a great city.
Yeah,
it's less expensive, even though it's getting more expensive.
I'll second that. I love Portland.
Wine a bar. Now I'm going to go there. I'm going to be like, are you awesome?
Let me ask you, Taurie, what did you go to school for? What did you go to school for that was worth leaving San Diego?
Yeah, I went to art school and I started as a photography major, and then I was like, I'm not going to make money doing photography. So I switched to communication design, which kind of led me to where I am now.
Do you still do photography or no?
Not really, because I was doing film photography, and there's like getting access to a darkroom is a lot more difficult now. So I don't do it as much.
Don't you miss that like feel of the tactile of like the stop bath and like going into a dark room and changing your camera and like cross processing with C41? Like there was some kind of like alchemy and like love in the process of it. It was just a beautiful thing.
Sarah's like not having this.
It sounds like a whole line of bullshit to me.
No, it really is. I'm not just giving you the BS. It's a beautiful thing to like process your own film and like put it under the thing and like literally dodge, not like a Photoshop dodge, but like literally like dodging the light. There's a
burnish the edges. Yeah.
I do that. I used to put staples in my my film. It was fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Yeah, you could do all sorts of fun things. I feel like it's much more tactile than the tactile experience is just so much more rewarding than clicking around in photos.
There's nothing rewarding in taking 2 rolls of film and not having one good shot in any of them. I've got to say,
I've done that.
No.
My photography professor always told me, out of every 1 roll of film, you're lucky to get 1 good shot. And that's just the way it is. But why don't we jump to you, Sarrah? What did you actually go to school for? For my recollection, when we spoke to you at UX Dev Summit, you were going for animation. Am I correct?
I don't know how you remembered that. Originally, I was a fine arts major, drawing and painting. Yeah. I have like some seriously ugly bronze sculptures in my garage, like no joke.
One man's treasure.
Yes, it's definitely trash. But no, I actually started with photography too, not in school, but I won the National Scholastic Art and Writing Awards Gold for photography.
I love
and then
that.
And then I went to art school. Yeah, just dropping that in there. It's like the greatest thing I've ever done. It's been downhill.
Award winner, whatever, no big deal.
but no, and I thought I was going to be an artist, and then like just like Tori said, like I was like, holy shit, like I'm never going to make money doing this. So
I remember.
animation.
Sorry to interject, but I remember a part of your story that was so interesting. You were making a portfolio, and you fell in love with the process of making a portfolio, and that's how you got into development. Am I remembering that right?
Yep. Yeah. So I had to make a website portfolio for my animation. So I was, to go out. I was going to SIGGRAPH in Los Angeles, and I needed to have a URL. And so I started building it. I was like, wow, this is way better than animation. Like instant gratification. I can move things around and make things happen and see it instantly.
Yeah,
You can still animate things too.
you don't have to click render and wait.
It's so yeah, but it's funny because I must not have liked animation much because since then I was like, boom, dropping the animation, never touching it again.
Now, anything in code? Do you enjoy that?
CSS, some CSS animations and transitions and stuff. But I think like I always loved the making the models and the textures and the backgrounds and make it like I never cared if it moved. I wanted it to look a certain way. So yeah, the animation part is like, I could do without it.
So how did you both meet each other? I'm going to guess it was from GitHub where you both worked at the time. Is that right?
Neither of us have ever worked at GitHub. We both have worked at GitLab, though.
GitLab, excuse me.
Oh,
geez, what a faux pas. It's a giant leap.
I don't know how you messed that one up.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. But yes, so
GitLab.
That's where you met. Yeah, GitLab.
Yeah, totally.
GitHub, yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. So what were you both doing at the time? Sarah?
No, I'm going to let Tori start because she was there before.
Tori. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I started at GitLab about 3 years ago and just a product designer there. And Sarah was my manager.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Was she bossy or no? She seems like she'd be bossy.
Yeah, she seems pretty bossy to me, so
She's not bossy with me. She's not. She was always great.
Does she pay you to hang out with her?
Oh, Sarah has like quite a look right now. She's like, shut up, Ryan.
For audience listeners, it's you need to be watching this. Yes.
Yeah, no, I definitely have a really bad case of RBF, but in this case, it's the word bossy. Would you have ever said to a male, a male person you were interviewing that they were bossy? I don't think you would.
Oh yeah, I have to.
I'm going to go back and watch all the recordings and find out.
You're very welcome to, and I suggest everyone do that at youtube.com/c/thundernerds.
Yeah, start all the way back. There's some interesting episodes way at the very one. That's before me.
Please prove Sarah right. I would love that because it's not going to happen, and then you'll watch the videos a bunch of times. Subscribe while you're doing it. Yes. But anyway, yeah.
So no, I'm not. I don't consider myself to be a bossy person.
Gotcha.
So. Yeah.
Good. Well, I mean, either way, what does bossy mean anyway? It's you are determined. You have a goal, and maybe somebody finds you rude one day and calls you bossy, and it's not relevant, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you both met at GitLab.
Yes.
And you started conversing. You were friends. What brought about the subject that we're going to converse about today, which is the idea for this book? What was the genesis? What was the Phil Collins for this book?
Well, first I would say I don't know that we were friends. I mean, no, that sounds really bad. That sounds like I don't like her.
Whoa, Tori, did you hear that?
Yeah, we were not friends.
Tori, take that piece of the locket, and you could just that one that says
tossing it away
and just throw it away.
No, what I mean was So what I mean by that is when I came,
fix that up.
I'm going to fix this. So no, when I came in to GitLab, it was really interesting because Tori was, she had been the interim UX manager. She was a senior designer. And I came in and my first question was, after just a couple of days of talking to her and seeing everything that she had done while she was interim, my first question was, why is she not the manager? I was very curious. I was like, this is insane. Like, they have this amazing person right here that should be the manager. Why is she not the manager? And I think when you come into a place that has an established group, people that have worked together for a while, especially as an outsider, and you're all of a sudden, in charge, it's a really weird position to be in. And I approached it from the point of view of, yes, I'm coming in as a manager, but I know nothing. I don't know anything about the way you work. I don't know anything about the history. I'm sure I'm going to come in and make suggestions that all of you have made before and didn't get worked out or done for whatever reason. And I don't want to come in like, I'm, here I am to save everyone. It was much more a situation of like, I'm here and I need your help to be the best manager I can be for you. And Taurie was awesome. I mean, she immediately she made a document. She kept doing some of the meetings that she'd been doing so that I had time to acclimate. I mean, who does that, right? Who helps their new manager learn how to manage? So it was a really unique situation, and it gave me so much respect for her as a professional, but also just as a person, understanding what it's like to come in and be new somewhere. And so we had this really great working relationship. I felt like I could be very open and honest with her and bounce ideas off. And we had like this, back and forth. And I felt like we really complemented each other in terms of like, I'm a little kooky and crazy. Taurie's much more straight-laced. So like,
and that's when the friendship blossomed.
Taurie, let me ask you: are you buying all this backpedaling that Sarah's providing here? Does this line up, or is she just trying to shine this up?
It's all very accurate. Yeah, I didn't want to be a manager, and so I did my best to make sure Sarah could be as successful as possible, so that I wouldn't be put back in the manager position.
Oh, I see. Here, let me help you take this.
I thought she cared about me as a human being, but apparently it was all a ruse. But at a certain point, I was doing a lot of speaking, and I was approached by A-Press about whether I'd be interested in writing a book. Now, this came after Taurie and myself and the entire design team had worked really hard on this design system, and it was kind of one of our flagship efforts as a team. And part of this whole thing with A-Press was they wanted me to kind of put together a proposal of what I would actually want to write about. And the thing that I felt like I had the most recent knowledge of that would be something interesting to others was this design system. And at the same time, I felt like it wasn't something that I had done by myself by any stretch. Taurie was like an integral part of this. And then I saw on the little proposal, it said, co-author, ? And I was like, oh, I'm going to ask Taurie if she wants to help me write this. Cause like, there's no way I want to write my first book by myself.
And Taurie was like,
she's like, maybe.
Well, no, let Taurie answer.
No, I didn't. I was like, I guess. I was like, sure. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work.
It was.
Yeah. So what was your response, Taurie? Like you said, I guess, sure, but like what, like really walk us through what your thought process was.
Yeah, it was, well, like Sarah said, we had been doing a lot of design system work. So I was kind of like, well, like Sarah has like a lot of knowledge in kind of spreading the idea of a design system and talking to stakeholders. And I was more on like the implementation side of things. So I was like, well, having those two perspectives in a book would be really nice, and rather than just like one or the other. So it was like, okay, this seems like a good idea to kind of join up and get both sides. We're also like pretty different in terms of like writing style. So a lot of it was like Sarah is more like conversational and I'm more like direct. Same with our just personalities in general, I think. So marrying those and getting that together ended up being a lot of work, but I think it made the book a lot more stronger.
So not to put you both on the spot, but I know you've read it in editing, but have either one of you picked up the current book, the completed book, and read it front to back?
I will never read it again. Ever.
What? Really? I mean,
ever.
You did read the whole thing, right?
Many
so many times.
It, I'm sure.
Oh,
they
really?
have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever have plans to go back and make updates? Do you ever think about that?
I thought about that. I don't know if I'd have it in me to actually do it, but I have thought about making changes. Like a lot of people do like second volumes, and Sarah says no, but I don't believe her. I think if like I was like pushed her, she would do it with me.
I think like all she'd have to do is start writing the email, and I'd slack her and be like, hey, do you want to write the second volume of that book?
Yeah.
What about the subject, Tori? Was that something that when Sarah approached you with that, was that something that you were like, oh yeah, that's definitely, I would be interested in writing that, or did you have something else in mind?
No. Like Sarah and I were both pretty on the same page about like that's a good thing to write about. Because I think, Sarah, when you originally asked me, you were like, I'm thinking about writing this, but I'm open to other ideas. And I was like, oh, well, design system makes complete sense because we were just heads deep into that already.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was really the only thing that I think, like, I don't know, this is just me, but I think to write a book, you have to be interested in what you're writing about. And for me, that was the most interesting thing to write about. It was something that I felt like I had something to add to the conversation about. So I don't know that there would have been anything else.
And were you like #trending?
No, when we started writing that, like,
that's teasing.
I'll kill you. No, but design systems like blew up while we were writing it. And by the time it came out, it was like insane. I mean, it's still insane, but it kind of had hit this peak. So, I mean, either we timed it just right, or
you set it off. I mean, this book was like,
it was the trend. It was the catalyst.
I don't think so.
Definitely
not
was.
even close. No.
I'm curious. I mean, we've talked about it. We've mentioned design systems, but who really is the audience? Like, what is the core like concept in the book about?
I'm going to let Tori take this one.
What? You're the one who always talks about this point.
This was at both
all
of
of
you.
the talks.
Tori, what is the answer? Go ahead, Tori.
Me? No, Sarah.
All right.
Sarah's the one who always talks about the audience.
What?
So she's rehearsed in this.
Yeah, we do. Like it's funny. We've done a couple of workshops and we've done some talks and stuff. And like we have like our set things that we talk about. So we're very siloed in who takes on what work.
Apparently.
So for us, the whole idea was that this. I mean, to me, it's for everybody. It's for anybody that's interested in design systems. It could be an engineer, could be project manager, could be a designer. I think that the whole idea is that design systems are for everybody. It's not just for designers or for one subset. And the whole idea for us in writing it was to stay higher level. Overall, not get too deep into technical implementations because that changes all the time. By the time we'd write it, it'd be done. I mean, to me, that's more for a blog post. So the idea was really to talk about, what a design system is and isn't. What are the steps that you take when you first want to implement a design system, and like whose buy-in do you need to get within an organization, and then getting it off the ground. And that's kind of the focus that we had in writing the book versus well, you should be using React or you should be using CSS modules or are you using Storybook that's all so interchangeable. So
it's very challenging to make something like this evergreen, I'd imagine.
I think so. It's hard to make it evergreen and still make it deep enough to have value. I hope that we accomplish that. I mean, because that was the goal, right? Not to just skim over a topic, but to give an overview and then dive deep into certain areas. For me, like my favorite part of the book, and Tori's going to think I'm lying, but I'm not, is the lexicon and the grammar, because in the beginning, the way we were talking about it, I think mirrored the way a lot of others were trying to convey that idea of a design language. It had to do with kind of taking smaller pieces and then putting them together into bigger pieces. And it just really wasn't coming together. And we got some feedback from our technical, what is Berman's title? Technical advisor, technical reviewer.
I got the book in front of me. Let me get to that.
What is Berman's? He got a whole page.
He's the technical editor, right?
Technical reviewer.
Technical reviewer.
I could show you right there in the book. Technical
there we
reviewer.
go.
Now, Frederick, you need to show the audience your favorite part of the book.
Oh, stop it. Let me finish this thought.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
So, but he came back with some kind of probing questions and things that didn't make sense to him. And then Tori just like ripped it to pieces. Me at first, I was like,
I didn't rip his advice.
She's like, no, I didn't.
I ripped the chapter
Don't misrepresent
apart.
Tori.
She ripped the chapter to pieces, not his
Not
review.
him.
Not him. No, because he was spot on. But Whereas I think some people would have just made some tweaks and changes. Like she kind of reevaluated her whole approach. And I really like what she came up with. The whole idea of the lexicon and the grammar. And as we've gone and we've done this talk and I've had feedback from people who've read it, they've never really read it put that way before. And that's all Taurie. Like just the way that she put those ideas forward, I think was a new way to frame it, which, I think is valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. To dive a little bit more into Brian's question and maybe get you to share a little bit more about that is, I think it's important to understand that this book isn't just for designers, right? This book is for teams. It's for the people on the team. It's for the designers, the developers, project managers. It's all about, you're not just building a design system for the designers. It could be for the client as well. All these people need to use this system in some capacity, right? And you need to provide them with something that's digestible, not just within the, I'll employ lexicon, the lexicon of design speak. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, totally.
Do you mind telling us like a little bit? I mean, we can't give away your book, obviously, but like, do you mind going into like how this speaks to a project manager or a client and not just the designer? And so people understand that.
Yeah. So how do I put this? When we were doing our design system, like we came up against a lot of pushback of like, well, what is this thing? Design system has the word design in it, so that's obviously just like visuals. But if you actually look at like what the benefits of a design system are, it really encompasses everyone that's on your team. And so it's incredibly important to focus on that in the book and not just be, and make that incredibly clear. Like, what is the difference between a design system and a style guide? And why are those things different? And who are the audiences for each of those things? So we start that off in the book and try to like clarify that this isn't just for designers. And we have a designer's perspective because we come from that background, but we also understand like how a design system can help these different like departments, like product and engineering and design, and how they all come together and how each of those departments can kind of help facilitate the design system to make it work for them. Because it's really for teams, like you said, in an organization. So we tried to encompass that in the book as much as possible.
Yeah, I love that. Well said. I think it's important for people to understand that this is something that everyone within the team is going to be able to consume and leverage.
So what is your experience actually of writing the book? I mean, and what advice would you give to anyone, seeing this is your first book, if someone else wanted to write a book, like what would you give them guidance-wise?
Oh boy.
It's a hard question. I think some of the more difficult things we came across was, one, the publisher's technology is terrible. So like we come from a Git background and we are like so used to version control and being able to like collaborate in that way. But the system we were using there was terrible. It was just like the worst thing in the world. And we kept losing stuff. We were trying to use Google Docs and import it into their system because we didn't have Word. And so I guess my one first word of advice would just be like, don't even try to use what they have until like you're ready to give it to them. Just use what you know is good.
We used GitLab for like the first half of the book. We literally created a repository, had markdown files, and then did pull requests and made comments.
And how did that
work? I really wonder why there isn't something like that for authors.
There should be, because
maybe there is, but A-Press just doesn't have it. I have no idea, but it was bad.
Sorry, A-Press.
Sorry, Brian.
Sorry,
Brian,
A-Press.
Brian, I apologize. You had a comment.
Oh yeah, I just want what was it like actually using like a Git repo in that way as a writing tool?
It was just like our day-to-day work. I mean, that's
it was supernatural.
Yeah. So I think, we had an advantage there because it's what we did every day.
And
in
it's
fact,
nice because if there's two people, and Sarah's writing a section, I can go in and I can comment and give feedback, and then we just change things. Same thing you would do with, reviewing code. It's just reviewing sentences instead.
Did you have any bad merge conflicts?
No, we had terrible merge conflicts in Google Docs, though. That was a nightmare.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, because so you don't get an infinite number of revisions over revisions. So at a certain point, no. At a certain point, what we found is when you would resolve something, the result was not what you expected. So yeah, we had a lot of
it's different for the paid version.
I don't know, but we're cheapos.
I feel like there's another book from all this on how to write with Git.
We should write a book on how to write a book.
We have joked about this many times. Right? Yeah.
That'd make a fun little book. Yeah.
I'm using Git. I'm using GitLab right now for my board game cafe. I'm making.
Oh, it's board game. She dropped it.
Shut up. So I'm making my husband use GitLab issues because it's so much easier to keep track of things that way. So we just have a bunch of issues and milestones, and I'm making him do all of that stuff.
Now,
he hates me.
If you mentioned it, though, you need to talk about it because
not right now.
Before we mention, do you mind if I just want to ask a few more questions about the book? I just got a few more questions about the book.
Yes.
Just 5 more minutes, Brian. Do you mind sharing maybe one or two of some of the biggest values of the book? Again, read the book, buy the book, but just some of the things that you could tease, we talk about this, and this is why this is so important. Maybe each of you could take a turn on one of those things. Maybe Sarah, you could go first.
Sure. So I will speak to the things that I really focused on. I think that for a lot of designers, it can be, and again, now I'm speaking just to designers, it can be very difficult to explain the value of your work, to explain to others why design is important to an organization. And a lot of what we touch on in talking with stakeholders and selling a design system across an organization has to do with how you talk about your work. So if you're talking to stakeholders who are very quantitative driven, they're all about numbers, then you have to talk about the return of investment, right? So what is it that a design system is going to give them in terms of better user adoption, or a savings of money in terms of the time that developers are spending writing something, or designers are spending designing something. So one big thing I think that is really a value is understanding how to communicate better to other areas of an organization, not just in terms of the benefit of a design system, but you can apply it to all the work you do. I think within design and UX, and I think even front-end engineers could use this as well when they're talking about the work that they do and why technical debt is a problem and why cleaning up technical debt has value. And those are things that, we just know intuitively, but how do you describe that to someone that doesn't understand the value there?
Oh, that's great. That's brilliant.
So that's one thing. Taurie, you can take something else.
Yeah, piggybacking on that, once you understand how to communicate kind of what is a design system and you understand all those principles, I think the other thing that I really enjoy about the book we wrote is that we touch on that even if after all of that knowledge, you still will run into roadblocks and you're still going to have problems and there's still going to be things to overcome. And the whole case study section is kind of here are all the things that we ran into, even though we have this knowledge of design systems and we're able to speak about it, but we still had issues with selling it. And it's still going to be, it's not going to be 100% easy all the time. And so I like that we included that in the book, and it wasn't just here's all you need to know and now you can do it. It's no, it's still going to be a struggle, and you're still going to have to be kind of, the bull who runs with this in your organization if you really believe in it, because it's not something that people just buy into overnight generally, unless you're super lucky.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you go into the book, and correct me if I'm wrong, is how to sell a design system and communicate why there's so much value in it.
Yeah.
Do you mind? Last question I really have about this is, and I think maybe in retrospect I should have asked this at the beginning, but for those kind of people that we just discussed, that demographic of maybe a boss, if you will, or a project manager, a front-end engineer, can you communicate what a design system is? Just, this is what a design system is, and this is why it's valuable to you.
Tori, I'm going to make you do this one.
I feel like that's your answer to everything. Tori, you do it. No, but I can do it.
I see that friendship bracelet breaking off a little bit here and there every time.
She has this. I know that she could do this.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote a whole book on it, right? So I should be able to do this.
Oh yeah,
you
good
could
point.
Say that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right here.
But yeah, we do talk about this in there. Like, and I was kind of mentioning this earlier. Like, we define design system, component library, and style guide, and how each of those three things are different, and that's super important, right? So a style guide has like your visual elements. A component library can have like live components, or it's just all the components that make up your application. And then a design system is really one step further, that like creates this design language that allows you to communicate your design throughout your organization. So it's not just the visuals, it's not even just the components. It's really like, how do we communicate about design, and how does our design for our particular organization work for our own user base? And it's separate from like visuals. So this is a lot longer answer than just like one sentence, but it's really the language behind your design, and how you communicate together in your organization, and how your principles align with your user needs.
No, that's a great answer. I just wanted to get that out there, because I think it's really important that we communicate that to those people, because this book is also for them, and it's something that they definitely should read. And if you want to get a copy of this, you can, the short URL would be buildingdesignsystems.design. Again, that's buildingdesignsystems.design, and we'll have a link to that in the show notes. And if you want to, you could find Sarrah and Tori. They're really nice people. They will actually even sign the book for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Tori, I need to find you. I need to get your autograph on here too.
He's showing up the writing that Sarrah did in the book for our audio listeners.
Oh yeah, Sarrah signed my book. It's really nice.
Yeah,
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Like a paragraph too. You'll only know what it says if you look at the video. So.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, this whole thing, yeah, you got to look.
Yeah, it's
like a whole chapter. But Brian, I think you wanted to talk about something that had to do with checkers and Hungry Hippos.
We don't have to talk about, but she mentioned it, and I like the idea. So if Tori's okay with her talking, are you okay with her?
Absolutely, yeah. She should definitely talk about it.
Go ahead, pimp it a little bit, Sarah.
Pimp what, Brian? What are we talking about?
I just said Sarah. Go.
Okay, so here we go. I was not prepared to be
to pitch it.
I'm trying to give you to set Sarah up a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, make it seem less like my idea, right?
It is,
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
No, 100%. I want the listeners to hear about, because I hope that something will be like, hey, maybe I'll go, back it, or hey, I'll tell a friend that lives in the area and we'll go see it, go to it. So
absolutely,
yeah.
So, and it was true. I wasn't making that up. Like, we really are using GitLab issues to do this. But what I'm talking about, for those of you who are like, all right, already, what is she talking about? Because all of us know what we're talking about, but nobody else does.
It's so good. It's coming.
So my husband and I are opening up a board game cafe in Zephyr Hills, Florida. I'm not quitting tech. I still have my full-time job. I work on Jenkins X by day, but by night, I am a board game cafe owner. And the whole idea is that this is a place where people can come, have access to a library of over 600 plus and growing board games. You can get some really delicious coffee. We'll have beer and wine. We'll have light food, sandwiches and bakery items.
Zephyr Hills water.
Zephyr Hills water, for sure. And it's my whole goal with this is that this is a gathering place. This is a place that you can come and sit and explore and play games and and just have a good time. I think I spend so much of my time on computers every day, like a lot of people, that the time that I get to spend playing board games is really important to me. And I kind of want to create a place where that's something people get to experience. So
What's it called?
It's called Your Turn Board Game Cafe. So we're not open yet. We'll be open in mid-September to October. And we're right now doing a Kickstarter campaign to help with the opening costs because they are astronomical. If you've never opened up a business, it's insane how much money it takes.
And we'll put a link to that, obviously, in the show notes. But do you mind providing that for people that are listening?
Well, I mean, it's a really long URL, but if you go to
I mean, you probably have it on the website of the company, right?
No, it's literally you go to Kickstarter and look up Your Turn Board Game Cafe. We have a Twitter as well that has a link in there. But yeah, I obviously was not prepared for this, so thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
You brought it up.
Do you have a website for Your Turn yet?
No, it's a work in progress, man. I'm here in San Jose.
I didn't know if you had a domain. Okay.
And I just want to say live on the air that they have met their goal, but keep giving because there's ice cream involved. So
yeah, we have some stretch goals. Goal. I think the grand opening party is enough for the stretch goals. Like that's gonna be. He's all about the ice cream. So.
Brian likes ice cream.
I mean, her husband's bribing me with ice cream. So,
do you have a physical address, or do you know where it's going to be located, like in a general sense?
Yeah, it's in Main Street in Zephyr Hills. So if you've ever been out in that way, they actually have this really quaint old Main Street with brick-lined streets. The building itself was built in 1934. I'm spending every weekend that I'm home with a jackhammer, literally like chipping the plaster off of this brick to try to restore it. Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been interesting. But Main Street, Zephyr Hills, and if you can't find any of the information based on everything that we've said, you can always reach out to me.
It's 38430 Main Street. It looks like. There's a picture on the Kickstarter. I mean, you can tell I'm excited about it. I love the concept. I wish it was like right around the corner. But I'm still gonna make it there because
Brian, make sure you put a link to the address on there in the show notes.
Poor Tori. Tori, do you have any project that you would like to talk about?
Tori, do you have what are you up to,
Tori?
She
feels like she has to have a special project.
I know. I'm like, shit, what do I do? I don't do anything fun. I'm not like
Tori, you do things fun. Why don't we talk a little bit about your aerial things?
Oh yeah. I don't even know where to start.
Start from the beginning. Why don't we first start, Tori, about explaining what exactly it is?
Yeah, so aerial arts or aerial like acrobatics is what I do mostly in my free time. So Sarah does teaching UX and
board games,
speaking at conferences, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna go do aerial. I'm done with technology. So, but aerial is it's. I hate to explain it by saying it's like Cirque du Soleil because I'm not a Cirque du Soleil artist by any means, but that's what people know. So I usually say it's like what they do in Cirque du Soleil, but I'm way less.
Well, it's an easy visual reference for people that might not get it, right? They see the cloth going down and they picture somebody wrapped around it doing some kind of maneuver.
So that's aerial, like AERIAL, like aerial.
Exactly.
Okay,
not aviation.
Not aviation.
She's
How long have you been in
there? Hanging from a plane.
About 5 years or so. I forget exactly, but
wow.
I know you downplayed Sarah does a lot of this and she does blah 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 within the industry, but I think it's important that we all have our very own personal work-life balance, and
totally.
This is your personal work-life balance. It's really paramount to have some kind of thing that is separate from the screen and your fingers typing, and have some kind of diversification of your passion. And that's really interesting that you have that. How did you actually get into it? What inspired you to pursue that?
Yeah, it's pretty big here in Portland. There's multiple companies and there's shows all the time. So I think I was I was at a show and I just randomly saw it, and then there was a Groupon for like a cheaper class because it's kind of expensive if you like really get into it, and I was really poor at the time, so I saw this Groupon. I was like, I'll give it a shot, and like when I tried it, it was really fun, but it was also really terrible. Like I had no strength, I couldn't do anything, and I was like super inflexible. So I like really built up from 5 years ago or whenever I started. So. But I basically just saw a show and I was like, oh, okay, that seems like something that I could try, I guess. And then I just have never stopped really from there.
Yeah, I bet that builds up crazy strength.
Yeah, you have to be pretty strong. But you don't have to be strong to start. Like I talked to a lot of people and they're always like, oh, I'm not ready to take it yet. Like I'm going to do like this yoga class. And I'm just like, that's not really how it works. Like if you just start doing it, you'll build the strength. So you don't have to be super strong at the beginning.
And there's some amazing pictures on our Instagram, which we will link to. Yeah, I've heard doing some pretty incredible moves that, I definitely could not do that. So you should be proud of yourself for sure. And also a completely off topic, but I'm obsessed with penguins. Where did you take that video of those penguins? Because I want to go there and see that. On
my Instagram? Is that what you're referencing?
Yeah.
I think you're referencing the penguins that were in South Africa. Yeah.
South Africa.
They were near Cape Town in South Africa. Yeah.
I love penguins.
Kind of far away, but you can make the trek if you're dedicated enough.
Brian, there are penguins at the aquarium in Tampa. Just go there and crop the video and then post it from South Africa, and you'll be fine.
I love how you have no patience for Brian.
He does it.
It just gives me so much joy. Somebody else gets it. Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Just kidding, Brian. I love you. I have the locket still.
Good. It's a hanging around your neck, I hope.
Yeah, that's why I went like this for our audio listeners. It's the other half of the heart of Brian's locket.
I'll just be really quiet, make it really awkward.
I don't think that's awkward. I'm comfortable with that. So, Brian, why don't we jump into your spotlight question?
I would like to do lightning because I really enjoy that. I've kind of moved more and more to lightning being just a nice way of getting to know our listeners. Our guests.
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know if either one of you are aware of what we mean by lightning, but lightning round is we're going to ask you both a series of questions. You answer it. Don't let Frederick ask more questions. He only gets one each turn.
One question.
And it'll be each of you answering it. So, Frederick, do you want to start us off?
Favorite cartoon as a kid? And Sarah, you always go first.
Oh, my God.
Jeez.
As a kid? I don't remember being a kid.
Yeah, I hear that.
When I was young, on Saturday mornings, they had the old, Warner Brothers cartoons, and they had these crazy ones. Oh God, I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, they had like these crazy ones where it was like these scenarios. It was, I don't know if it was Warner Brothers, it must have been Disney, but it was like Goofy and but it was like these life situations, and there was this narrator, and he'd be like, here he is on Sunday morning, Goofy would be doing something stupid. Yeah, I don't know where
driving the car, you had to work, yeah.
Yes, and it was always some crazy situation. Sometimes it was Goofy, sometimes it was Mickey, but they were fantastic, and they were really, really funny. And I have no idea what they were called, but they were my favorite.
Tori?
Yeah, I was a 90s kid, so mine were definitely like Hey Arnold and Rugrats and like All Real Monsters, all those like Nickelodeon and all those shows. It's like
Rugrats are good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah, would you rather put your head inside the lion's mouth or get shot out of the cannon?
Jeez, that's violent.
Head in the lion's mouth. I'm afraid of heights.
Shot out of cannon easily. It's pretty. I mean, I do aerial, so I'm used to heights.
As the aerialist.
Easily.
I mean, who said you'd be going that high?
True.
Favorite anime?
Me?
Yeah, it's you. You're the first one.
I don't like anime.
I know you're going to say none. I don't like any. That's the answer I expected.
All right, there you go.
Jeez, presuming.
Yeah, I haven't really been into anime either. Like, I've definitely seen a lot because growing up, like my dad and my brother both watched like Dragon Ball Z all the time, so I've seen some but I wouldn't say I have a favorite or that I know enough to even have a
Maybe
favorite.
it would defer then to Dragon Ball Z.
I mean, I was kind of like forced to watch it, so I would never want to really watch it anymore. So I don't think I can really default to that.
I linked a Goofy cartoon in our show notes, by the way.
Thank
so
you.
listeners can see.
So I want to revisit this anime question because I have a 17-year-old son who is obsessed with anime. And if I have to hear one more diatribe about JoJo's, what is it? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or something,
no idea
I'm going to blow his out. Like, he literally knows I don't care. And he's like, I know you don't care about this, but I feel like I really want to talk about it. And so he'll just
wants to share with you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
But I listen, but like, and I just like, at some point I zone out and like I don't even know where I am anymore because it is like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is really bizarre.
I'm gonna have to look that one up. We'll put that in the show notes. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
I think that's what it's called. I should know. I mean, he talks about it at every opportunity.
That's awesome.
So for our children, stop listening right now for a second. Okay. And Sarah, when did you find out that Santa isn't real?
Pretty sure I was 8.
You have like a direct memory. I don't have a memory. Like maybe it was just like a natural thing over time, but it wasn't like someone was like, "Oh, you didn't know this." It was just kind of like, yeah, obviously. I don't know. Just
no, I realized it. Like I put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, "Oh, I've been duped." So yeah, no, I did. I had like one of those like Columbo moments.
You're like at the magnifying glass. Wait a minute, looking at the
my dad was really into this stuff. So my dad would put on these Santa boots and he would track snow through the house.
Elaborate. I'm impressed.
And sprinkle. Oh no, he would do all kinds of stuff and take a bite out of the cookie and like. I mean, he was really into making it real. I can remember the Easter Bunny. He would like take a carrot and put little carrot dribbles down the driveway, like in the direction that the Easter Bunny came from, and put fake. I mean, it was crazy.
So did you do this for your kids?
No, I told them all it was a bunch of BS.
I love your dad. That's beautiful. What a great guy.
My kids didn't miss out on anything. They were happy.
Sarah, you come home 1 a.m. You go to the door. You open the door. There's a ghost. What do you do?
I punch it because there's no such thing as ghosts.
Punch it? You clearly don't understand ghost.
She has no.
Ghosts are not real people.
Tori,
wait, she doesn't understand what?
Yeah.
How ghosts work. Oh, I was gonna say I just keep walking because I also don't prescribe to the ghost theory.
See, if I see something, it must be really there. It must be like a burglar or something. So
that's fair enough. That's fair enough. And so, Tori, you can't unsubscribe. It's there. What do you do?
I go to bed because I'm obviously really tired and hallucinating.
Perfectly acceptable.
Okay, that's right. So would you rather be able to copy and paste in real life or undo in real life?
Undo.
Okay.
Yeah, also undo.
Yeah.
Brian's not satisfied with the answer. He's
no,
like,
I'm fine. No. Frederick.
Oh, I'm allowed to answer or questions, Brian.
Okay. I can keep going. I got a whole list here.
Oh, go ahead.
What chore do you absolutely hate doing?
This is not a chore, but I absolutely hate doing this. Putting gas in my car. I cannot explain it. Like I have a deep hatred for this.
Oh, I got it one after you're done, Brian.
Okay. Tori?
For me, it's clean the shower. I make my partner do it all the time. I hate it so much. It's the worst.
Yeah.
Which is mean because you have long hair, and I know what that means for a shower. So that's really mean.
Yeah, he's great. He never complains, just does it.
Sarah, if you couldn't do what you're doing now and you could never touch a computer again, what would you be doing professionally?
Something physical, like
such as
I don't know, like outdoor work, like gardening or
you would garden professionally.
I could be a professional gardener. Don't mess
You
with me.
could. I'm
No,
asking
no.
you the question. I'm not.
Yeah.
Sound judgy a little bit. Jeez.
Was
I didn't mean
judgy.
that
Like he
judgy. I'm
thinks
just
I
asking if that's
can't
specifically
garden.
what she meant, Brian. I think you're judging.
So my favorite job that I ever had, besides my job now, because I do love what I do,
Sure.
was unloading trucks at Walmart. I'm not gonna lie. Like my job was to unload trucks, put it all on pallets, get it out to the floor, get as much of it put away as possible, and then figure out how to get it all back in the back room with room on the floor for the next trucks the next day. It was a giant game of Tetris, but it was a physical game. I had to actually move things. I was in the best shape of my life, but I was still thinking the whole time I was doing it. And like, that's the best of both worlds. And like, at this point in my life, I'm thinking all day long. I'm mentally exhausted by the end of the day, but I am like 10 pounds overweight. I am terribly out of shape because I'm not moving, you know? I miss that. I really miss it.
Huh, that's very. That's super interesting. What about you, Tori?
Ariel. I don't know. There's the easy answer.
I mean, would you be a teacher?
No.
I don't know
Another
what
question.
questions there are within that.
Sarah doesn't understand lightning, but Tori does.
Tori, does that mean like you would be like a teacher in that? I'm not sure.
I
Like,
can't tell if you're like ignoring Brian.
He is. He
no
always
more
is. He
questions.
oh, I'm
He
sorry.
does.
No, I wasn't ignoring you. What did you mean by that, Brian?
Lightning.
He's saying that I'm taking too long to answer and I need to shut up. But that's okay. I don't care.
No, you're definitely.
I'm the guest. I get to answer any way I want.
You do.
Exactly. Let's all agree to ignore Brian. So again, Tori.
I would love to perform or teach. Both would be, or yeah, doing. Usually, if you're performing, you're also teaching because you don't make a lot of money. So it'd be a combination.
Gotcha. Brian, do you have any more?
Yeah. I got a whole bunch.
Okay, good.
What, if anything, have you ever regifted? This is don't get in trouble though. It's usually a candle.
Sarah.
I don't give gifts.
Aw.
Give gifts.
No, I really don't. Like you can ask my kids. Like,
Well, you killed Santa and you don't give gifts.
well, they would get.
I think we just pass up Sarah on this question.
Yeah,
That's a true answer.
Yeah, geez.
All right,
World's worst
Tori.
parent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Aw, no.
Yeah, so for me, I don't think I've regifted. Like, usually if I have something I don't want, I'll just give it away. If I'm going to give someone a gift, it's going to be like a meaningful gift, like for this person. I don't just give them crap I don't want. So if like I don't want something, then I'll just like donate it to something.
All right,
That's really good. I love that.
Yeah,
Fair
I like
enough.
that too.
All
Okay,
right, Sarah, I got one more.
Okay, go.
Sarah, what brings you personal happiness? Hello, Sarah?
I'm here, but like no matter what I say, it's going to sound pithy and like.
She's like everything.
No.
Makes
This
me
is
happy.
a non-judgment zone, Sarah. Honestly, I mean, everybody could always do one of those. Oh, I donate or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I'm just asking, what brings you personal happiness?
Honestly, like helping people. I know that sounds super pithy and stupid, but like, and it could be something like really big, like, you know, mentorship and that kind of stuff, or it could just be like I held the door for somebody with a walker at the store. Like I know whatever, but
I like that. That's
It's a
good.
great
There's
answer.
nothing wrong with
It
that.
makes me
We're not judging you for wanting to help people.
Not at all.
I feel judged.
No one should be judging anybody for anything. So yeah, that's a great answer, Sarah. Thank you for being authentic and being brave enough to just say that.
Brave enough to help people.
No, I didn't mean it that way, Sarah. I just meant brave enough to not, because like you said, it could come off as, oh, I'm just saying that to blah blah blah. But no, you're just being authentic.
No, being honest, and I think it's like it's one of those things like you can do even on like the worst day. Like, I could be having a really shitty day, and I just want to tell everyone where to stick it, but then I helped somebody and I'm like, oh, I feel better.
And I want to this is genuine because I was having a bad day. I needed to talk to someone, and Sarah was having migraines, and I was like, no, you don't have to talk to me. She's like, no, I'll talk to you. So
I was in the urgent care clinic.
Yes, she's genuine when she says this. Okay,
that's really sweet. What about you, Tori?
What was the question? I've totally lost track of what the actual is. It what brings us happiness?
What brings your personal happiness? Obviously, this question is vast and could go any different direction.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to take it a different direction a little bit. I think like
Please.
since I spend so much time on the computer and like doing tech and UX and all this stuff, like it's just nice to get outside, like go camping or hiking or like anything away from technology.
Here, here. Yeah, that's great. Excellent.
Okay.
Brian, do you have anything else, or can we start to close everything
I'll
out?
do one more. Well,
like
I love these
wrapping up.
questions. I love these questions because I like getting to know like my
Go
new
for it.
details about people. Your perfect sandwich. What's in it?
Oh, it's a BLT all the way.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's a
With-
good
and
answer.
And it's got to have just that right amount of mayonnaise.
Now, is it arugula, lettuce? Like
It's
real?
got to be iceberg because you need
Okay.
that crispy, watery lettuce.
A little
with-
bit of horseradish in there.
I've never had that, but I'd be willing to try it.
What type
Oh,
of
it's
bread?
wonderful. That spice.
White. It has to be white bread.
Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, sorry.
I'm going to say BLT, but with an A for avocado. It has to have avocado on it for it to be like
that sounds
Mm. Well said, Tori. Yeah.
She one-upped me with an avocado. Damn it.
Maybe a different kind of bread.
Man, I want a
Pumpernickel.
BLT.
Tori, pumpernickel.
Thick
you know,
bacon.
variety. Change it up.
Mm.
Different kinds of bread.
Nice. Sprouted.
Sprouts.
Look at the sprouted bread's good. I like also
wonderful.
rye and pumpernickel are my favorites. So and sourdough.
Yeah.
So like all bread, Brian? Is that what you're saying? You like all
I mean,
bread?
all bread is fantastic. Yeah, just shove it in my mouth. I love bread.
Don't ever say
Well,
that again.
On
Ever,
that,
ever.
let's go ahead and. So let me ask both of you. We're at the end of the show. What's the best way people could get a hold of you? Obviously, your Twitter handles. Do you mind communicating that and your website out to people for our audio listeners?
No, totally fine. Twitter, as anyone who knows me knows, Twitter DMs is like the easiest way to get a hold of me. My
Which
DMs
is-
are open.
Your URL is
S Vesselov. So I'm easy to find.
and Tori.
Yeah, my Twitter's Taurie D, and same DMs are open. You could probably message me on LinkedIn, but I won't see it for like a year. So
Yeah.
definitely use Twitter, not LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then my website is tauriedavis.com, and there's you could email me through there if you wanted.
Nice, yeah, and we'll put a link to all that in the show notes. And the best way for people to buy the book, again, if they go to buildingdesignsystems.design, would that be the best spot for everyone to go to?
Yeah, that has links to Amazon and A-Press. But you could also just, Google it and it'll come up.
Perfect. And the very last thing we want to ask both of you, if you have any kind of final words, any kind of parting bits of wisdom for our audience.
Deep and meaningful only.
Well, this is
Mandatory.
where Tori begins because I got to think about this for a minute.
Okay. Oh, that's
No,
all.
You, Tori, your shoulders are heavy.
Yeah, but I don't really have any words of wisdom other than read the book because that's where all the wisdom's at.
Perfect.
So, and then reach out to us if you have questions.
Nice.
No, that's perfectly acceptable.
That was
Darren,
really
back
good.
to you.
I think that I can't do any better than that, and I'm just gonna throw it back to Tori. Like, do what she said, man. Do what she said.
Yeah, I think I heard her mic drop when she.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
I.
The
I'm
moral of the
officially
story:
done.
do what Tori says.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right, great. Anybody else have anything before we close up?
No, just great having you both on the show.
Yeah, thanks. It's been
Yeah.
awesome.
That was great.
Yeah, really appreciate you joining us. All right, well, thanks everybody. Please go to the old YouTube and subscribe on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And thanks everybody for joining us.